how much film study and research do you really have to do against a team like Cleveland? You have played in the final. This team has played in the finals before. You kind of knew going in you were likely to play. Do you have to like restart everything, or is there such a familiarity that maybe you don't have to start it, day one with this team?
No, we do. We watch both games from the regular season. Gone back and watched some from last year during the playoffs. I know Steve watched all of the games from last year's finals. And then, obviously we watched their games from the Boston series. And then, you watch them throughout the course of their playoff run, but you mainly take away from what they did in the Boston series in terms of the current playoff run.
Mike, you're going to end up being a big part of this story. How do you feel about that? Are you comfortable with that? Mike Brown's return in the finals to Cleveland?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things I have no control over. It is what it is, and just kind of take it in stride.
Did the coaching staff get together to watch that game?
Yeah, we watched the game together last night here.
When NBA coaches are watching a game like that together, like if we were to see a video of that, is it like super analytical, like breaking stuff, or like the rest of us saying, "Oh, damn, look what LeBron just did"?
Well, I mean, I was like sitting in the back like this, and eating my pizza, drinking my apple juice. And I think Steve was laying on the couch. I think CD was over in the corner. Every once in a while, he was on his cell phone. Ron was up there, really analytical, coach. So it was like kind of mixed bags of personalities in a room watching the game. And every once in a while, somebody would say something, and then we go down that path for a little bit, and then we get back to watching the game and move on. So it's just kind of talk as you kind of go along.
You sure it was just apple juice?
Any mixture?
I plead the fifth. Right?
Teams playing so much against each other in the NBA. It isn't like, say, the NFL where you get to the Super Bowl. You've played the Cavs. They played you. Should be no surprises, or do you think there might be something different?
Usually at this time of the year, there aren't many surprises. And I truly believe you got to have players in this league to win. And I said this yesterday or the day before. And so, a lot of it during the course of the game is going to be determined by the players. And if your players execute and try to keep the game simple and play hard every possession, then at the end of the day, the better team's going to win in that regard. But I don't think we'll be able to trick them, and I don't think they'll be able to trick us. It's because they know what's coming, and we know what's coming.
How much better do you think these two teams are than they were last year, given the additions? Obviously, been together a little bit longer, but KD, they've added some players as well.
Yeah, I think both teams are a lot better. And not only that, again, both teams went through it last year to a certain degree, and so just the experience alone for the guys that were on the roster, I think, helps out more than anything else.
You mentioned not paying attention to the storyline, you returning to Cleveland, but have you, in your private moments the last few days, few weeks, kind of laughed a little about the twist of fate that you are going to be coaching against the Cavaliers in the finals?
I mean, it's not that. I mean, it's all over the place. It's not something that I can hide from or run from. And all I said, it is what it is. I don't have any control over what the storyline's going to be. It's a little ironic that things happen in life this way. And I was talking to my boys about it, and it's just it's one of those things, especially in the NBA. It's like the Lion King. It's just a circle of life. How everything just kind of keeps getting back or revolving back to where it once was, and just kind of take it in stride, and whatever happens, happens.
LeBron's probably as scrutinized as any athlete on the planet.
Yeah.
Does your familiarity with him, is it any kind of advantage that other coaches wouldn't have, or is there just like no secrets about this guy?
No, I don't think so. He's, like you said, he's been scrutinized from day one, top to bottom, inside out. And I mean, I don't know more about LeBron than what Steve does. And, obviously I coached him, so there's, maybe a little bit more that I may know on his personal side about him. But in terms of him as a basketball player, no, everybody has knowledge of what he can do on the floor. And, he's played very well. It seems like every year his game has gotten better.
I think this is the best LeBron.
Yes, yeah.
How
no doubt.
scary is that?
No, it's it's a factor, because he was already one of the greatest in the world to ever play the game, and and the guy keeps getting better. I used to say that when I coached him. People say, "Well, do you think LeBron has peaked out?" Or what? No, no, no. The guy can get better. There are a lot of ways that he can get better, and he has.
Where specifically? Because I mean, like you said, it's hard for him to get better. But where have you seen him this year?
Well, I mean, one of the things, and we talked about this, is his shooting. I know I'm really dating myself, but in 2007, when we played San Antonio, every pick and roll that LeBron ran, I don't care if the screen was set, 15 feet below where the ball was, they were going under the pick and roll. And, he wasn't as confident in his shot back then. Even, a little later on, I think in 2013, when San Antonio played him, they were going under the pick and roll. You got to be careful going under the pick and roll against him now, because if you do, he'll make you pay. And not just with 1 or 2 threes, but he's liable to run off 4 or 5 threes in a row if you disrespect his shooting ability.
When guys have days off, when you give the team a day off, do you encourage them to completely unplug and do something that kind of gets their mind out faster?
This is a funny part about it. So Steve is really good at he calls it get what you need. And, this group's a veteran group and extremely responsible. And so a lot of times some guys might need to get away from it completely, because that's their mental makeup. Other guys may just need the routine of coming into the gym and getting a few shots up just to get themselves going or making sure that they stay in the right frame of mind. So, it's up to each individual more so than trying to lump everybody into one, common thing.
How well rested does this group feel right now?
We've had 2 pretty good days of practice. We feel like the group is pretty sharp. They feel good about themselves, so hopefully we can continue on the upswing.
Coach, LeBron probably has the most shooters on his team that he's ever had in his career.
Yeah.
How do you scheme for that balance of when to allow your guys to probably go one-on-one and not start the rotations of the week, those guys open? Just force them to the basket or sending help and sending, leaving guys open. How do you do that balance?
Well, I mean, anytime in this league, especially with this team, because of the shooters that they have, anytime you can, stay with your man. So, for instance, if they're playing a pick and roll, if you can handle a pick and roll in a 2-on-2 situation, then it's best, because as soon as you come to help, at any given time with the ball in LeBron's hands, he's finding the open shooter. And like you said, they have knockdown shooters, and if you allow them to get looks from the three-point line, they become a very, very dangerous team. So hopefully, we won't have to help as much, and at the end of the day, they'll have to shoot and or score twos, and if we take care of the ball, stay locked in defensively, maybe that's to our advantage if they're scoring twos as opposed to making threes.
With Love made basically their backup center, does that possibly change your center rotation, or at least the minutes that you're giving those guys?
It could. A lot of it's going to depend on who's on the floor for them. Because Love may be their backup center, but you've seen us in the past. It doesn't necessarily mean we have to put our center on him.
LeBron talked about, and he said it a number of times, that not necessarily sees himself as a shooter first, but more of a facilitator.
Yeah.
How do you see him? I mean, because obviously his ability to get to the rim, to do whatever he wants offensively, is one of the best in the game, but he does often look for that pass first. How do you see him?
No, it's funny. A lot of people compare, him to Kobe and to Michael, and I kind of compare him to Magic, because he wants to pass first if he can, but again, he's not Magic. He might be in the middle of those 2 groups because he can score if need be. But if you think about Magic, not only can Magic get his guys easy looks, but when he needed to score, he could score. And so that's how I compare LeBron more to when you're trying to talk about style of game. And he's right. He wants to pass first and pass second, but if he needs to score or if he needs to shoot, he can do those things too, and that's what makes him so dangerous. And when you have a guy that likes to pass like him at his size, it makes it difficult on the defense, because no matter what you throw at him, he's looking over the top of your defense. It's almost like you know, quarterback. You know, if you got a guy Doug Flutie's size, he's going to have a little bit more problems in the NFL than a guy that's, you know, Peyton Manning's size, 6'4", 6'5". And you can see over the top of the defense. Same thing in basketball. If you got a point guard, which LeBron is more than capable of being, you double team him or you send the body in him, he's looking right over the top of the defense and he's finding whoever he needs to find for an easy look.
Mike, I think we could all guess what your short-term goal is right now. Long-term, do you want to be a head coach again in this league?
Eventually, you know. I think almost everybody that coaches in this league at some point, whether they've done it or not, wants the opportunity again. But again, for me, it's not anything that I'm necessarily thinking about. If it happens, it happens. You know, I feel like one of my attributes is being patient, and if it works out, great. If it doesn't, then I'm enjoying it here.
So you're not thinking about what this postseason run might be able to do for your career long term, and more just hyper-focused on what's going on?
Nah, I mean, we've had a good run so far, but it's not over. And so I just, you know, maybe when it's done, I might reflect back on it a little bit more.
Has this experience rejuvenated you at all in any way, just being part of this organization with Steve, you know, top to bottom, Bob Myers? I mean, sometimes, you know, you go through a lot of tough little twists and turns in a career, and you reach a point where it's like it kind of refreshes you.
I mean, it's part of it, but, you know, my first year out, my youngest boy was a senior in high school, and so I knew I wasn't going to do anything. I just wanted to hang around him and watch him play football and basketball. And so that's what I did. I stayed in Cleveland, and I went to those games and went to all the team meals and all that other stuff and had a fantastic time. And then, you know, I'd say if anything rejuvenated me, it was spending last year down in San Antonio. You know, spent most of the year down there, and then even bouncing out to New Mexico to watch my son play and being around hoops more than what I was the year before. This definitely has added to it because, you know, just the quality of people in the organization and, you know, how well they work together. They don't always agree, but at the end of the day, you know that everybody has everybody's back. And, you know, at times that's hard to find in any business.
So Steve went through all their games, 7 games last year.
Yeah.
What was his general summary of those 7 games?
I mean, just like probably Cleveland felt, you know, there were instances where they could have played better, you know, and the biggest thing was, at times he felt they got sloppy with the ball, which could have cost them, you know, and then, you know, watching how they defended certain actions and who they put on who, you know, he may change this or that, you know, going forward, but just feeling like they could have played better in general.
Like, you've talked about how happy you are here. Is this a situation where you could actually see yourself maybe even turning down a certain head coaching opportunity depending on what it was to stay here?
Yes.
Because you're happy.
Yes. Yeah. Definitely.
All right, thank you, Mike.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.